So I guess we're starting things over. It's kind of been a while, but you know, start from the beginning. Anyway, Japan's fashion scene isn't just about brands or trends. It's about subcultures that rewrote how people live in their clothes. So today we're breaking down 5 Japanese subcultures that every fashion fan should know for inspiration, for study, for whatever, just so you can get some insight into a different culture that has a lot to do with fashion. I'm Reggie Casual, this is the list. So we're gonna start off with Karasu Zoku. Karasu Zoku ne, if you've ever seen someone draped in all black cuts and thought, yeah, they look like they read philosophy for fun. Yeah, congratulations, you've probably spotted the spirit of Karasu Zoku. Literally the Crow tribe. They were followers of Yohji Yamamoto, Rei Kawakubo, and Issei Miyake during the 1980s. This wasn't fashion for show, it was anti-fashion as expression. In a decade obsessed with luxury and excess, the Karasu Zoku went in the opposite direction. Loose silhouettes, matte blacks, and silhouettes that seemed to dissolve the body. Yohji and Kawakubo's followers weren't trying to be pretty, they were trying to disappear. Their clothes weren't just status symbols, they were statements about impermanence and identity, and that pops up a lot, impermanence, in Japanese culture. So be on the lookout for that in other episodes that we do. Anyway, wearing black wasn't just about style, it was about rejecting the noise of the bubble era and finding quiet in form. The bubble era meaning like the 1980s when everybody was making hand over fist money, even in Japan. Now, this subculture became the intellectual bedrock of modern Japanese fashion. Many of the country's signature silhouettes and oversized proportions seen in newer labels like Oral-lee, Hatra, and Presse, and just pretty much the general consensus of Japanese fashion trace their lineage to Japanese avant-garde and the Karasu Zoku movement. But Karasu Zoku just wasn't about redefining aesthetics, they defined what it means to exist within fashion, and it became a worldwide phenomenon. That's how important it was. You didn't just have Karasu Zoku in Japan. Karasu Zoku is still around and adopted by plenty of people, including myself. I wear a lot of black, a lot of stuff that has no name or branding on it, but I dissolve in the clothes. Anyway, next up. Coming in next, we have the Urahara, the street revolution. Many of you know about Urahara, ne? So I don't really have to explain the history of it, but Urahara, short for Ura Harajuku, literally the back of Harajuku, like underground Harajuku, was the birthplace of Japan's street revolution. In the 1990s, this is where Nigo, Jun Takahashi, Skating, and Hiroshi Fujiwara built empires out of chaos, almost out of nothing. Urahara was loud, experimental, and alive, a mix of hip-hop, punk, skate, and DIY culture filtered through Japanese precision. They weren't necessarily copying American style, they were kind of reprogramming it. What started as thrifted Levi's and Air Force Ones turned into a bathing ape, undercover, and double taps, brands that taught the world that rebellion could have design language. And a little note, before we get the inevitable people who will be out there like, there we go again, Glaze in Japan, they did not come up with streetwear, dog. They did not do it, all right? You need to stop it. Pump the brakes, pump them real quick. Nobody's saying that Japan created streetwear. What we are saying, though, is that Japan played a very big role in commodifying it, making it a shared language that we now all recognize. So much so that even Americans, notable Americans, those who created brands, crowned Hiroshi Fujiwara the godfather of streetwear. So that says a lot. Urahara blurred the line between counterculture and commerce, creating a blueprint for streetwear that every brand still borrows from today. And that's why you need to know about the Urahara, just the Urahara movement. But before we move on, a word from our sponsor, Squarespace. If you've been thinking about turning that fashion idea into something real, whether it's a brand, platform, or just a place to build community, Squarespace is where you start. This isn't just a website builder, it's full-on brand building toolkit. You got stunning templates that don't look cookie cutter, built-in e-commerce so you can sell your pieces, members areas to build loyalty, and email campaigns to keep your people in the loop. All of it under one roof. And now with Blueprint AI, it gets even easier. Just answer a few quick questions about your style, your goals, your vibe, and Blueprint builds a custom layout tailored to your brand's identity. Fonts, colors, flow, it's all curated for you. No more blank canvas, no overthinking, just build and launch. So when you're ready to go from idea to execution, head up squarespace.com/thecasual to get 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. Build the brand, build the community, do it all with Squarespace. All right, so next up is Gyaru. Gyaru ne. Now I know some of you, especially if you're into menswear, right? You might be tempted to like skip this whole part. Like Gyaru is like for ladies and stuff, right? But don't. Gyaru is one of the most significant and enduring style movements in Japan. Not just because it's one of Japan's most prevailing styles, but because it evolved from the nation itself. Gyaru has lived through all of the modern eras, like Showa, Heisei, Reiwa. We're currently in Reiwa right now. The movement fractured into dozens of micro-styles, each signaling different levels of that rebellion. From extreme tans and platform boots to pastel sweetness and heavy glam. That diversity gives Gyaru its lasting cultural power. When most outsiders picture crazy Japanese fashion, they're often imagining Gyaru. But the truth is, the style shifted dramatically over time, reinventing itself with each new generation. Reiwa Gyaru, for example, the current era that we're in, emerged with a calmer, more self-aware Japan, but the confidence remained. It's about owning femininity. Femininity. It's not everywhere, but you can always tell when someone carries that Gyaru energy. You see a lot of Gyaru in Japan. What's remarkable is how deeply the aesthetic has seeped into everyday life, from hairstyles, makeup, even poses for photos. They can all echo Gyaru sensibility. Gyaru isn't just a scene anymore, it's part of Japan's visual DNA, visible everywhere yet no longer shocking anyone. That's what makes Gyaru so important. It changes with the era without losing its essence. It's flexible, but never diluted. Coming in next, we have the one that's become popular in the last few years, which is hilarious to me, Cityboy. Now, if Urahara was chaos or just street, Cityboy is calm. Born from Popeye magazine in the 1970s, it has endured across every modern era of Japanese fashion, evolving while keeping its aesthetic intact. Cityboy is quieter, less showy, and perfectly aligned with Japan's natural rhythm. Slow, deliberate, effective, and seemingly effortless. It's not effortless. They put a lot of effort into looking effortless. And they like doing it, which is, even more surprising. Cityboy is how Japanese men in particular move through their city, blending intention with subtle awareness. It's influenced by Western casual, refined through Japanese precision and attitude. And you can recognize it not only in the wardrobe, but in the cafes, playlists, and quiet confidence of those who live in it. And that's why Cityboy is probably one of the most influential styles in Japan ever. All right, so without further ado, we get the last one, number one on our list, Amekaji. Now, Amekaji is probably the most notable style ever in Japan. It was born in post-war Japan's fascination with Americana. Denim, varsity jackets, military surplus, and the romance of mid-century cool. A lot of us tend to call Amekaji like Japanese Americana, so it's kind of analogous with that. Is that the right word? Analogous? I think it is. It's the same thing. But here's the thing about Japan's take on Americana. They didn't just copy it. The obsessive pursuit of authenticity gave rise to Japan's entire heritage movement. The real McCoys, Warehouse, Buzz Ricksons, and Visvim all trace their roots back to Amekaji. When people ask why denim, leather, and these classic styles dominate discussions of Japanese fashion, the answer is simple. Amekaji is Japan's strongest fashion export, no question. It commands one of the most dedicated and consistent communities. It's influential, it's respected, and impossible to replace. Its familiarity made it globally respected, bridging heritage with modern appeal. If there's one Japanese fashion movement that you should know, and you should reference anytime you're thinking about Japanese fashion, you probably should be looking at Amekaji. It's just that important. Anyway, what ties these subcultures together isn't just fashion, it's philosophy. Each movement reflects Japan's need to translate emotion into form. It's a country that turns identity into clothing, rebellion into refinement, and history into style. But what do you think? Which Japanese fashion subculture speaks to you the most? It's a great engagement question. Let it be known in the comments. And be sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications if you found this valuable or entertaining to you. But most importantly, keep it locked right here for all of your info in international fashion, culture, and business from Tokyo. It's your boy, and keep it casual. Yoroshiku onegai itashimasu. And I will see you all in a minute. Peace. じゃあ今日はここまでです。